So today is the 11th of December, Saturday, the 11th of December, and we're all gathered for the 11th session on mindfulness for beginners in English. I would like to warmly welcome, with permission, Bhante, Venerable Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero for today's program. In addition to that, I would also like to warmly welcome all the participants joining via Zoom and all of those participating via MixLR. A kind announcement before we start. If anyone would like to, you can switch on your videos as this allows it to be a more interactive session. Now I would like to most respectfully invite Venerable Bhante to kindly commence with the session for today, starting with a brief mindfulness practice. Avasarai Bhante.
Dear Dhamma friends, today we are here with another program, Mindfulness for Beginners. So today we will take some time to do a sitting session as the starting part of our program. So I invite all of you to adjust your seat, make sure that you are comfortable. And once you have comfort in your seat, you may close your eyes and pay attention that you are sitting. When you pay attention like this, you can notice various things. You can observe various things. Maybe sounds will appear from your surrounding. Then various thoughts and ideas may come and go. But when you observe for a longer period, you can of course notice that you are sitting. Maybe your posture, pressure on your back, you can notice. For some people, breath becomes prominent. For some people, movement of the stomach becomes prominent. For some people, heartbeat kind of a vibration becomes prominent. Just calmly observe what you can feel inside your body. What are the prominent sensations that you can feel? Again and again, your attention will go to thoughts, various sounds. But you have the ability to become aware that your attention is with the sound, that your attention is with the thought. With that awareness, you can, of course, bring your attention back to the present moment. Sometimes pain will appear. Maybe certain emotions, urges will appear. You may feel sleepy. Whatever comes, you can become aware that you feel these things. With that awareness, you can again and again bring your attention back to the present moment. Bring your attention back to the sitting posture. So our idea is to exercise this ability to become aware of things. Aware of the sensations that you feel in the present moment. So as a group, let's try and stay with this attention for a few more minutes. Okay, so that is our time for practice. Now you can open your eyes, and maybe even after a few minutes of practice, you feel calm and peaceful inside. So this is the same feeling that we are developing when you do this practice. When you become aware about things more and more, your mind automatically becomes calm and peaceful. Okay, with that, I think we can move to the next part of our session.
Thank you, Bhante, for giving us that valuable guidance and techniques on the mindfulness practice. I'm sure we all found it very insightful. Thank you once again. Next, I would like to briefly go through the beginner's guide for mindfulness. The first step for a beginner would be to go through the 2 videos on mindfulness we have included in the beginner's guide. The first video is on mindful walking and the second on mindful sitting. Once you have followed the videos and become familiar with the instructions, you can set up a time daily for each of the 2 activities. You should allocate about 20 minutes to about 1 hour for mindful walking and another 20 minutes to about 1 hour for mindful sitting. Once you practice this way for a few days and gather about 2 hours of practice in each format, you can write your experience in a report and send to us for Bhante's review and advice. In mindful walking, you can describe whatever was your primary objective, what you perceived, such as the sole of your feet, body movement, turning at the end of the walkway, or any thoughts or any distractions, such as sounds, etc., that come into your mind. You can list any difficulties you faced in maintaining your attention within your body. Likewise, in mindful sitting, you may describe your primary object, the movement of breath, any bodily sensations, and also any distractions such as thoughts or other disturbances from sounds, etc. You can write down your experiences in your own words and send us via the email or the Google form. We will then present all the reports to Bhante, and Bhante will provide you with advice to further your practice. Your reports will benefit you as well as others in the session. So we will conduct this session every Saturday so that we will all benefit from Bhante's guidance and advice. Now, as the next step in our agenda, I would like to warmly invite Sonali to present the reports for today's session and conduct the Q&A session. Sonali, over to you.
Avasarai Bhante. We have a total of 4 reports today. I will start with the first one. Mindfulness walking from an adult. Ball of left heel touching ground, weight of body on ground, weight transforming across arch of foot to the front of foot, cool sensation, almost at the same time, right foot lifting, moving, ball of right heel touching ground, weight of body on ground, weight transforming across arch of foot to the front of foot, cool sensation. Then again, left foot lifting, moving, ball of left foot touching ground, weight of body on ground, weight transferring across arch of foot to the front of foot, cool sensation. This process continues, sometimes interrupted by sound of a bird chirping, storytelling thoughts, sound of an aircraft, sound of rain droplets, and itch here and there, a bit of boredom, a couple of stomach noises, back to the right foot lifting, moving, ball of right foot touching ground, weight of body on ground, weight transferring across arch of foot to the front of foot, cool sensation, turning, turning, left foot lifting, moving, ball of left heel touching ground, weight of body on ground, weight transferring across arch of foot to the front of foot, cool sensation, a wobble and wobble balance. Back to right foot lifting, moving ball of right foot touching ground, weight of body on ground, weight transferring across arch of foot to the front of foot. And so on, the process continued. Walking meditation of about 10 minutes completed. Back to listening to Mindfulness for Beginners program. End of report.
Okay, so little details you can observe. As per the reporter, you have lot of details. Bodily sensations, then thoughts, sounds appearing, then again coming back to the bodily sensations. So this is the process that we are going to observe. And when you observe this more and more, you feel boredom. You feel like there's nothing valuable, nothing important. Instead, just same old thing repeating again and again. But you have to change that attitude. You have to think that this is something extraordinary. We are, of course, witnessing a miracle. When you pay attention to the present moment, when you observe each and every step while walking, when you observe your breath while sitting, and maybe doing some other activity, when you pay attention to that, you of course witnessing a miracle, the miracle of the present moment, the happiness of the present moment. So this quality we are going to develop again and again. And when you develop, you notice that this is a miracle. No, not in the past, not in the future, right here, right now, in the present moment. And we again and again try and pay attention. Try and be with the activity that we are doing. Maybe drinking a cup of tea, maybe talking to somebody, a family member, you are talking, and maybe walking somewhere, maybe sitting somewhere. Just become a witness to that moment. And that is a miracle that is happening. Not in the past, not in the future, right? In this moment, it is a miracle that is happening. And we try to become the witness to that miracle. When you have that attitude, you notice that every step is precious. When you notice every step, we are noticing a miracle, witnessing a miracle. When you notice every breath, you are noticing, witnessing a miracle. When you notice every word that you are talking, when you notice every word that you are listening, you are witnessing a miracle. So that type of attitude you have to have towards the practice. Otherwise, you feel that it is the same old thing, repeating again and again. Actually, that is the true nature of life. Same old thing repeating again and again. And if you try to find something new, then you are lost in your mind. Instead, if you pay attention, you can see this nature everywhere. Even in the surrounding, you can see same thing repeating again and again. How many times you have taken the same path towards work? Maybe for years you have taken that. How many times you have done your body wash and everything? How many times you have brushed your teeth? How many times you have had your meals? So repeating, same thing again and again repeating. So that is the nature. That is the true reality of life. But if you think there's something new here, you should think that this is not something repeating, then you are mistaken. Instead, our mind getting lost in thoughts, we think this is something new. I'm experiencing something new. I'm experiencing something extraordinary. That way, you think because your mind is lost in thoughts. But if you really pay attention to the present moment, you can see everything repeating again and again. Even in the nature, you can see that. Even in your body, you can see that. Even in your mind, you can see that. So this repeating nature, we are going to witness. We are going to observe. Again and again, we notice that these things are happening again and again. These sensations I feel again and again. These thoughts appearing again and again. So that observation we are doing. So it's a good report, and you have to spend more and more hours doing this observation, maybe not only in sitting and walking, but of course during your day-to-day life.
Next report from an adult. Walking meditation, 30 minutes. Walked with bare feet on tiled floor. Meditation object, sensation on soles of feet. Able to bring mind to being aware of walking, initially brought mind to sensations on soles of feet, noticed pressure sensations on different parts of the sole of the foot with each step. The heel, then sometimes the side of the foot, and then the toes. Noticed associated feelings arising of discomfort, displeasure, when the foot was placed on the hard floor, and aware of the ending of the sensation when the foot was lifted off the floor to take the next step. I was trying to see if I could see a thought arising that the next step should be taken, but was not able to do so. The shift of just the right amount of weight forwards seems to lead to the next step. I was aware of the tensing of the muscles of the leg that was on the floor, and sometimes the gripping of the floor with the toes or splaying of the toes to help the balance. I noticed that I seemed to turn anti-clockwise at the end of the walk from one end to the other. As I reached the wall, I was not able to see a thought arising to determine which direction I should turn, but I did note that it was always anti-clockwise. I noted the shift of weight and the areas of pressure on the sole of the foot when turning was different to when walking straight ahead, with more weight going into the sides of the foot first, and then more evenly on the whole sole of the other foot, and then more equally on both feet when facing a new direction after turning, and before starting to walk again in a straight line. I was initially aware of several sounds, and even at one point my husband asking me a question, but I was able to answer without being disturbed by it, and was able to bring my attention back to the sensations on the soles of my feet. I was aware of a commentary going on where I was trying to note the sensations. I tried to tell myself to just observe, but as Bhante had instructed me to do many weeks ago, tried to observe this as if it was not my thoughts or conversations. I was aware of thoughts arising, trying to analyze the walking process in the form of a commentary. I was aware of questions arising as to what I should ask Bhante about whether I should just observe these thoughts and allow them to proliferate. But then I became aware that my attention had come back to the sensations on the soles of my feet. Sitting meditation, 30 minutes. Primary object, breath. Noticed traffic, noticed outside initially, noise outside initially. Managed to bring attention to breath. Coolness felt initially right nostril, aware of pulsation in time to heartbeat, like a whooshing noise in right ear. That arose, then passed. Aware of sensation of coolness in the breath and mild pressure sensation on out breath at tip of nose. The coolness then felt at both nostrils, but more so on the right side. The breath became more shallow and at times was unable to feel sensation of coolness any longer. Bright lights, purple with green edges, came in waves, kept coming. I was aware that I didn't want it to stop. I then was aware of the breath again, kept observing the cool sensation. I couldn't really say precisely where I was feeling the coolness. In the past, I had imagined my nose, but now only aware of the sensation rather than the image of the nose, and felt I was able to separate the sensation from the image my mind had created of the nose. The breath again became more shallow, and again lights appeared in waves, intense orange and yellow at one point, again in the purple with green edge, and lasted for longer on this occasion. Again breath appeared. Aware of noise from downstairs, aware of breath again, end of meditation session. End of report.
Okay, good report again. And you can see that you are practicing and various things are coming little by little. You are training yourself to face them. So that is the way. Initially, you think that these are disturbing me. I have to go to a different place. I have to find some place without noises. I have to find some place without family members. So that is how you start. But more you practice, you realize this is the reality. You can't escape that. You can't go to some heavenly place without sounds. You can't avoid family members. You can't avoid traffic. So these things are there. That is the reality. So this practice, we are trying to accept the reality. Instead of fighting it, we are trying to accept. When you accept, you can see that the traffic is there. Then people, they function in the surroundings. Sometimes they come and talk to you. Still, you can answer without disturbing your peace. Maybe thoughts appear, commentary about the practice, about various other things. So it is natural. So if it is not your commentary, then you don't have to worry. You don't have to do anything about it. Instead, just let it happen. Just let it happen and be aware. When you be aware, you notice that suddenly it is gone. Again, your attention comes back to the walking or the sitting process. So this reality we are accepting. Don't think you can reject that. Don't think you can go to some heavenly blissful state. Instead, you are accepting this reality. That is the practice. Little by little, with training, you can accept. And even your day-to-day life, maybe you don't like the work that you are doing. Maybe there are other situations in your life that you don't like. But still, with this practice, you take it as a meditation object. When you go to work, try and see that I'm going to a meditation session. When you talk to somebody that is not pleasant, you can see whether I'm doing a meditation session. Be aware and see how the state of your mind is changing, how you are responding. Sometimes you are angry, sometimes you are sad. Depending on your state of mind, you are responding. So if you approach your day-to-day life, if you approach your family life, if you approach your work life as a meditation, then you see, although the outside conditions are the same, there's more peace and calmness in my mind. You are accepting this reality. Instead of fighting it, you are finding your own way. You are prioritizing your own peace and happiness. So that is the practice. Don't think you can go into some other state, this full state. Instead, just becoming aware about the reality. Just accepting this reality that we are in. And when you do that, you can feel that although the things are there, you are not bothered. Sometimes light appears as a good sign. In a long, dark winter, you can see northern light in the sky. So that is a blissful sign. This light is passing and it gives some kind of a comfort to us. Instead of the darkness, you can see the light in the sky. But if you get attached to it, then again, you are mistaken. Because after a while, the light will disappear. And when it disappears, if you're attached, you feel sad and worried again. So continue, put more and more hours. Try and approach your day-to-day life, work life as a meditation. And if you share your experience again and again, then it will be helpful for others as well.
Next report from an adult. Sitting meditation. Started breathing meditation with awareness of the surroundings and moved on to breathing. Observed sounds around, noticed thoughts only at the point where it had started to create a story. Attention came back to breath. Noted the same a few times over. Started to count to 3 with the short breath, and after a while moved on with the attention to long breath and counted to 7 with a longer breath. Attention to breath was much better. Meditated for 20 minutes. Walking meditation. Started walking on carpet floor. Started walking slowly so that the steps were observed one at a time. Noted the weight shift from one side to the other. Then noted the progress of the steps from heel to the toes on each foot. Observe the beginning of each step is also the end of the other step. Observe the coldness of the floor. Noted a pain in the neck and slowly moved eyes to look forward at the walking path. No sounds were noted and only few thoughts were observed during this time. Walked for 20 minutes. End of report.
Okay, in this report, you are noticing long and short breath. So initially you are counting. So that's a trick to keep your attention with the breath. It is a tool that you can use initially, but with time, you have to let it happen naturally and just be the observer. So initially you help with certain ways by counting. Maybe some people, they say in breath out, breath, that type of a labeling they use. Those are initial tools that you can use. But with time, you are letting the breath happens naturally and just become the observer. Instead of controlling it, just let it happen naturally and just become the observer. Then you can notice variations in the breath, the natural breath that is happening naturally. You can see variations. Maybe it is long sometime, maybe it is short, maybe the temperature difference is there, maybe the time difference is there. So you can just become the observer. So what I suggest is that you have to continue observing your breath and tell us how the breath is changing with time. So you have done 20 minutes. So during this 20 minutes, you have to observe, let it happen naturally, and tell us how the breath is evolving. Initially, it was like this. After 5 minutes, it took this turn. Then again, after a few more minutes, this happened. Like that, you have to observe the variation, the changing nature of the breath. And if you can put that detail into your next report, then we can see how your practice is progressing.
Thank you, Bhante. Last report from an adult. Walking meditation. Walked on tiled floor, watching sensations on feet as primary object. Felt very sleepy from the start. Some thoughts passed, but mind came back to feet. Noted warmth on parts of the floor compared to the others. A cooler sensation between toes, slightly sweaty. A cold sensation on top of medial arch, especially prominent on right foot. Noted the uneven tiles, felt sometimes in one foot, at times the other. Sharp sensation on middle of right foot lasted for a few steps. Walking unsteady as sleepiness increased. Watched sleepiness getting worse. Noted eyelids getting heavy, closing at one point. When turning, was observing weight distribution on each foot nearly fell forward, which reduced the sleepiness. Had an urge to sit, but continued a few more steps up and down. Tried to remember the effort of Buddha and the great arahats to no avail. After about 35 minutes, sat down and made determination to try to meditate later for an hour when less sleepy and tired, which I did after writing the report. Sitting meditation. Observed breath as primary object after the sensation of walking meditation. Breath more prominent in left nostril, but soon became subtle and disappeared. Thoughts came and went, not distracting. Breath reappeared, and at one point, a spontaneous long breath observed. Peaceful feeling for some of the time. No thoughts observed during that time. Pain noted and aware of mind going away from breath. Sat more upright and mind returned to breath. Observed the warmth, sensation of pins and needles, changing nature, severity and sight of pain, and mind going back to breath. Meditated for 55 minutes. Much gratitude and thank you to Bhante for guidance and the organizers. End of report.
Okay, so when you start, you felt sleepiness, tired, and that is natural to a busy life. So maybe you are working for so many hours, then you are traveling. So all these things, towards the end of the day, you feel tired. And it is natural. So feeling sleepy during the practice is more and more natural. But if you continue it, then you realize that your brain and the body is relaxing. Your mind and the body is relaxing. And even you start tired, but after 1 or 2 hours of practice, you feel fresh again. You feel energetic again. So that's a good sign. Even feeling sleepy, heavy eyes, we appreciate it because you are tired. Most of us, we are tired. We don't get enough sleep. And we have to do so many things within a day. So it is natural to feel tired and sleepy in a practice session. But you have to understand this nature, this feeling is a way of relaxing your mind and body. And that should be there. And maybe after practice, you feel fresh again. You feel like you had a nap kind of a thing, and you have more energy after the practice. So that's one point I want to show. Then the other one, in the sitting session, you mentioned that breath is disappearing. So that's something that initially we take breath as a representation of the world. And when you observe it for a while, you notice that it is disappearing. So the world is disappearing. But what happens is that various other things are appearing. Maybe for some people, stomach movement is noticeable. Maybe for some thoughts appearing. Maybe for some kind of a blissful nature appearing. So various things appearing instead of the breath. Again and again, the breath may come and go. So we take breath as a representation of the world. And when we meditate, it is disappearing. The world is disappearing. And other things will also come, thoughts and other things will come. But you have to meditate till they disappear too. They too will disappear after a while. So this process is again and again happening, and you just become the observer. Now you don't have breath as the safe house. Instead, you just maintain your mindfulness and you are able to do it. Initially, you feel like you are lost, but with time, you realize that my mindfulness continues. Although things appear and disappear, I can continue this awareness. That awareness will not disappear. That awareness can be there without even an object of awareness. Just that awareness continues. And that is what we are aiming. That is how we are training our mind to continue with this awareness. Initially, we give this breath some kind of an object. We train our mind to be aware of that object. With time, when that object disappears, just the awareness continues. And various things will appear in this field of awareness. They too will disappear. And we are training our mind to maintain that awareness. Not only during the sitting and walking, but even your day-to-day life, you can maintain some kind of awareness. Maybe not up to a level in a sitting or a walking, but still you can maintain certain level of awareness. So that awareness is the quality we are developing. That is the quality we are encouraging. And you are headed that way. So you may again and again do this practice and see how you can allow this awareness to continue.
Thank you, Bhante. Next is the questions. If anyone have questions, please raise your hand and unmute yourself. Gihanta, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Sonali. Bhante, so normally our thoughts are involved with sort of 6 different types of activities. We talk about sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch, and thoughts. So those are normally what our mind is focused on. So from mindfulness practice, we understand that at one moment, the mind can sort of be involved with one type of activity, either hearing or sight or taste, although we know that, it can move from one activity to another very rapidly. So it looks like it's happening at the same time. Now, through the mindfulness practice we have been doing in these sessions, we are learning about the present moment and being engaged in the present moment. So my question, Bhante, is how is it possible, or is it possible? I think maybe how is it possible for us to be fully engaged in the activities we are doing and at the same time be aware of it? So I find this sometimes a challenge. So if I'm fully concentrated, say in my work, a report I'm writing, maybe an email I'm writing, then I am not aware of it. So can you help explain, if the mind can only be directed to one thing at a time, how is it possible then for our mind to be engaged in these sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch, and thought, but also to be aware of it? I find that a challenge sometimes.
Okay, so when we learn about the mind, we hear that we have various sensors, 6 sensors, and mind is moving here and there in these sensors, and one thing at a time. That is our book knowledge usually. But when we observe, when we practice, we can see even few things, 3-4 things we can feel at the same time. Maybe one level you are seeing a commentary going. Maybe another level you feel your breath. Another level, some sound is there. So you feel like there are 3 levels, still you can feel all of them. So that how fast the mind is working, you can feel all these things at the same time. So when it comes to practice, when it comes to practitioner's experience, it is somewhat different. Especially while walking, sometimes you hear sounds, you feel thoughts, still you can feel the texture of the ground. You feel like all these things happening at once. But what happens is that the mind is shifting here and there. It is shifting so fast, you can feel various layers. So when you practice, you realize this nature of the mind. When you do more and more walking and sitting sessions, then you realize this nature of the mind. Some people, they come and say, I was walking for 50 steps and I could maintain my mindfulness for 1 hour without any disturbances. Some people, they say, I was sitting for 1 hour and I could maintain my mindfulness throughout the session. I didn't feel anything. I only observed the breath and the steps while walking and sitting. They come and give that comment. But the true practitioner, they know that you can't maintain that type of awareness. It is your lack of awareness that you are telling like that. When you say you maintained your attention throughout the entire session without any disturbances, it is your lack of awareness. Your mind is jumping here and there, but you are not noticing. When you sit, you say, I was observing breath, only breath for 1 hour. It is your lack of awareness that is speaking. Your mind is jumping here and there, you are not noticing. So when you spend more and more hours, you notice this variation. You notice that even between 2 steps, it is going out and coming back again. Even between 2 breaths, it is jumping here and there. So that is the experience of a practitioner. And when they practice more and more, they came to know, they realize that you can't maintain your awareness in a single object. That is not possible. Instead, this is jumping here and there. You can prioritize something, but still you hear the sounds, you get the thoughts, you see things, but you give priority to something. That you can do. Report, if you want to write, you are giving priority to that one and you are working. You hear the sounds, you feel the thoughts, but still you are functioning. That type of awareness you can, of course, maintain. If you try just focus on one object, then you get headaches. That is the way towards anxiety. Instead, you give some kind of awareness towards something. Maybe 60-70% of awareness you are giving to one activity and you are prioritizing it. But you can't continue that for a long period. Maybe after 40 or so minutes, you realize that I can't do this anymore. Then I have to take a break. Relax the mind, let it go and relaxed. And after relaxing, even maybe 5-10 minutes, then again you can pay attention to something. So that type of awareness we can, of course, maintain, and it is enough. It is enough to function properly. It is enough to prepare a good presentation. It is enough to do your day-to-day work. So try and see, don't try to focus just on one thing. Instead, just let it happen and just prioritize something. Maybe when you talk to somebody, you have to prioritize talking. Still you hear, you get thoughts, you see things, but you are prioritizing that same activity. When you talk to somebody or when you do a report, you have to select your priority and you are giving more attention to that. But other things will, of course, will be there. You can't prevent that. You can't get rid of them. Instead, just accept. And you focus on one thing. That type of awareness you can maintain. That is, I hope I gave you the answer to your question.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Thank you.
Doesn't look like anyone else has any questions. Bhante, if you don't mind, I have a question. Much like the report, reflection report, to maintain awareness in some times, especially I have started observing this while I'm driving by myself. I have decided to switch off the radio and try to maintain some awareness with many activities that are going around while driving. And I realized I am doing an internal monologue or like a commentary to maintain this awareness. Is that normal? Is that right? Is that how you do it, or is there a different way?
Okay, so a good way to practice, you have to pick certain times during your day-to-day life. Let's say driving, instead of turning on the radio, I just try to maintain this attention towards the activity. A lot of things are happening. Other vehicles are there, then you can see various things, thoughts coming, sounds. And some people, they just, they want to rush and they are making you angry. So it's a good situation to practice. And when you practice, you realize that this is how I maintain my attention. That commentary was always there, but you didn't notice because you didn't practice this type of a way. But when you practice, you see, this is how I maintain my attention. Without this, it is difficult. It's fine. It's totally fine. You are just noticing. You are just observing. You are just realizing, this is how I maintain my attention. Without this, I can't drive probably. So that observation, don't make it a question. Instead, it's an observation. It's an answer you got from your practice. All the things that we realize, they are answers. They are not questions. You find out various aspects of your life, various aspects of your mind. And it's a good thing. We say self-discovery. I'm discovering myself. Of course, we think that we know all the things about ourselves. But when you really look into your mind, when you really pay attention, you discover a whole lot. You discover so many things that you didn't even know about yourself. So those are answers. Those are not questions. Instead, just take it as an answer and continue to observe. It's a good way. When I was in my lay life, I had about 4 hours of commute. So early in the morning, 1.5 hours, evening, 2.5 hours. You have to go and come back. So 4 hours, if you try to pay attention to the driving, it's a good way to practice. Of course, I was not that much practicing back at times, but still you can spend that time for a good cause. And paying attention is a good one. If you turn on the radio, then there is another commentary adding to that, the commentary from the radio, and it will even confuse yourself more and more, even complicate things more and more. So just pay attention, keep it simple, and see how my mind is functioning, how I am functioning. And if you spend like that, even let's say 1 hour every day driving, paying attention, it's a good way. You are spending 1 hour, you are getting to the place that you want and doing this practice. So with one stone, you get 2 birds. So that type of approach we have to take towards our day-to-day life. Otherwise, you don't have enough time. So it's a good example that the way to practice, various opportunities to practice. And these things that you observe, don't make them questions. Instead, they are answers. And this is how I drive. This is how I function. When you do that observation more and more, you will realize even more and more things about yourself. So what I suggest is that continue that observation, continue to share your experience, and you will see much more details.
Thank you, Bante. That was a good answer. I don't see any more questions from anyone. So back to you, Lushani.
Thank you very much, Sonali, for presenting the report so well, and also for the Q&A session. Thank you very much also to our Bante for that profound advice. It was really good to have your advice, especially for the participants who presented the reports, and also for all of us. We learned so much from it. A thank you to all the participants who have submitted reports as well. As you can see, much merit to you, because from your reports we have all learned, and for the participants who've asked the questions as well, it was very insightful for us all. So thank you everyone very much. Now I would like to very humbly welcome our Bante for the talk on mindfulness practice.
Okay, dear Dhamma friends, today we had a number of questions, so we are a bit late on our schedule, but still we can take about 20 minutes talking about the practice. So today I thought of talking about the favorite person in this world. Now, when I say favorite person in this entire world, you may start to think. You may start to remember various people, maybe your parents, maybe your husband or wife, maybe your children. You will start to remember. So when we say the favorite person in this world, you tend to think outwards. But when you really dig deeper, when you again and again observe your behavior, there's only one favorite person in this world, and that is yourself. Not the other people, not the surrounding people, instead you. And you have to be kind to this favorite person. You have to accept him. Most people we see, they are hating themselves. While hating themselves, they try and go do good for other people. They try and do kind things for the world while hating themselves. But if you really want to be kind, you have to be kind to yourself first. That is the proper starting point. You have to accept yourself. You have to accept yourself for the person who you are. Not the person you want to be, instead just the person who you are. Accept your feelings, emotions, accept your thoughts, ideas, and be kind to this person. So this mindful practice is totally about being kind to yourself. When you close your eyes, when you pay attention to yourself, that is you. Your thoughts, your ideas, your urges are appearing. So most people, they can't even stand this. They quickly open their eyes, they go in front of a TV, they somehow distract themselves because they can't really face this person. They can't really be kind to this person. Instead, it is much easier to be kind to the world. It is much easier to be kind to the surrounding. It is much easier to be kind to the nature or the animals. You can't stand this person. So there was this experiment with a silent room. And they somehow in a lab, they made this silent room. And the challenge was to stay some time inside it. So when you go inside, you can't hear anything. No sounds at all. Do you know what happens? After a few minutes, after maybe spending there 10-15 minutes, most people, they start screaming, asking to get them out of this hell, out of this silent room. What is happening? You start to hear yourself. You start to feel yourself. And it is scary. You can't stand this person. The closest person to you, you can't stand. So you start screaming, take me out of this room. I want to go back to the real world. I want to go back to the distractions again. I want to be kind to the outside world again. So with practice, maybe with time, little by little, you start to accept this person. Of course, we suggest observing breath. Of course, we suggest observing steps. But the practitioner, they know after a while, the thoughts are appearing. After a while, the urges are appearing. After a while, the addictions are appearing. After a while, the memories are appearing. So if you hate yourself, you can't really do this practice. If you hate yourself, you can't even close your eyes and say for a few minutes. So with time, with practice, we truly learn to be kind to ourselves. We accept ourselves as the person who we are. We accept our emotions. We accept our thoughts. We accept our memories. We accept our addictions. And that is being kind to you. Being kind to the favorite person that is there. So maybe not initially, maybe not within few days, but with time, maybe with few months, within few years, you really accept yourself. You understand these are my thoughts. I have these addictions. I have these urges. I have these dark memories in my mind. And when you accept more and more, it is totally healing. That very acceptance, that very kindness towards yourself is healing. More and more you do this, more and more you become blissful and peaceful. So according to some data that I got, about 40% of the people that are out in the world have secret lives. They are living one life in the daytime, and in the night time, they live a separate life. They show one face to their family, but at times they have a darker side. So 40% of people, imagine. I am not sure about these numbers, but still, it should be somewhere closer. And if you function like that, it is of course a matter of time that you end up hating yourself. Although you try to be kind to the family, although you try to be kind to the world, although you try to be kind to the animals, you really hate yourself. So that is not the way of practice. Instead, be honest, be humble, and just try to accept yourself. Try to be kind to this person who is the favorite one in this world. Try to accept his thoughts. Try to accept his emotions. Try to accept these dark memories. You don't have to blame yourself for everything. You have done the best you could do, but the rest was out of your control. So being kind to yourself is accepting your day-to-day life, accepting mistakes that you have done, accepting failures that you came to meet with. So that type of awareness, if you develop awareness about your thoughts, awareness about your emotions, awareness about your urges, then that is truly being kind to yourself. When you be kind to yourself, then you can start being kind to other people. Then you can start truly being kind to other people. Because you are aware about these emotions. Emotional intelligence, we say. That is not only awareness about your emotions. Instead, you are aware about the surrounding. Instead, you are aware about other people's emotions. Then you can, of course, respond properly. If you are not aware, then you will respond one way, but that is not the proper way to respond. Some people, they just chase after people trying to be kind. But those people, they are not ready. They don't want that type of a kindness. And only leave a bad taste in your mouth. Because it was not the proper time. So it is said, it is more generous to accept a present than a giving one. You think giving a present is generous. But accepting a present. So if the receiver is not ready, then no point of offering a present. So if you have this type of awareness about yourself, if you have this type of awareness about situations, if you have this awareness about other people, then we say you have emotional intelligence. You can start being kind to other people when there's a need, of course. When there's a need, you can offer a helping hand and tell them, you want this here. And that is the proper way to be kind to the world, be kind to the surrounding. That is how we are going to develop this type of awareness, initially about ourselves, initially being kind to ourselves. Then we can begin to be kind to the world. Then we can begin to be functioning properly, responding properly to our surrounding situations. So for example, I will take one incident that happened to me when I started this program, maybe after 3 or 4 weeks. I was about to connect to the program and I had this device in my hand and I dropped it. Accidentally dropped it. Now I can't connect. This device is damaged. So I was thinking and trying to make it work. And there was this other monk who was watching me, and he came and he offered the device he was using and told me that you can use this. Connect to your program using this device. That type of awareness we are talking. That is the proper moment to come and help somebody. So when I think about that other person, he's not always offering help. He's just minding his own business. But when the time is right, he come and offer his help. He come and give his device that he was using. You can use this. Use this device to connect. So that is the proper way to help. You don't have to always go and present your availability. You don't have to always go and announce that you are there to help. That's not the proper way. Instead, you just, when the time is right, you go and offer your help. So that way of functioning, you can only do, that way of kindness, you can only do with awareness, with mindfulness. If you are not aware, then you are totally lost. If you are not aware, you don't know the proper time to react. You don't know the proper time to offer help. So I saw this video on YouTube. There was some kind of a jewelry shop, and a mother with 2 kids come to this shop. She wanted to sell a ring. So this owner, he checked all the things, and just about to pay them, he was asking, "Is this yours?" "Yes, this is my ring." "Why are you selling this?" "This is my wedding ring. I have some urgency." And after hearing this owner, he gave the money, he paid the woman, and after paying, he said, "You keep this ring." According to the situation, he reacted, nobody will come and sell their wedding ring if the situation is not so demanding. So this person, he paid the woman and then gave the ring back. "This is my present to you. You can keep this." So that is the proper way to be kind. That is the proper situation to be kind. And that woman, she burst into tears. So that type of quality we are developing. We are not going offering help to everybody. Instead, we are being kind to ourselves. We try to be kind to ourselves. We accept our emotions and thoughts. We start with the closest person, with the favorite person in this world. And when you start there, you can really start to be kind to the world and other people. And when there's a need for you, somebody, a totally stranger, will come and help you because you have developed this quality in your mind. You don't have to expect from certain people. You don't have to expect that they will come and help you. Instead, some kind of a stranger will come and complete your need. They will come and tell you, "Here, you can keep this. You can use this. You can take this present." So random act of kindness, those are the terms that are used on internet. So when the situation is demanding, when the situation is right, you offer your help. You do the best you can do and just go on your own way. You have no expectation that they will come back and help you. You have no expectation about the return. Instead, just the situation demanding, you offer and you go. So that is the quality of awareness. You know the proper time to respond. You know the proper situation to respond. And your presence is even blissful. If you are aware, your present even is blissful. If you just be there, even from that appearance, that being there, people feel happy and peaceful in their mind. Because this person is aware. This person knows what is happening. He is not lost in their mind, similar to other people. It is not a thinking mind that is there. Instead, he is aware. He knows about his emotions, thoughts, He knows about the situation. He knows about the surrounding people and their emotions and thoughts. So that is our invitation to you. You can develop this quality. You can practice this again and again. Try and be kind to yourself first. Close your eyes and see whether you are being kind to yourself. Close your eyes and see whether you can accept this person that is closest to you, that is most dearest to you. That is a good starting point. That is a proper starting point. And when you be kind to yourself, when you accept yourself, then you can start being kind to the world and your surrounding. So with that comment, I would end today's talk. And I invite all of you to practice and see whether you can develop this type of attitude, this type of quality in your mind. And you may spend more and more time practicing mindfulness. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Bhante, for that valuable and very healing and insightful talk on my favorite person or your favorite person. So thank you so much. Much merit to you, Bhante. So to wrap up today's session, I am happy to say we practiced about 10 minutes of mindfulness during the session at the beginning. And then we listened to Bhante's advice for reports and questions raised during the Q&A session. Next, we were blessed with the talk from Bhante, containing this insightful advice on how to heal ourselves and to be kind to the favorite person, as in yourself. So thank you, Bhante. I would like to express my very deep gratitude to you, Bhante, Most Venerable Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero, on behalf of all the organizers and all the participants for the time and effort taken from Bhante's own valuable schedule. Much merits to you, Bhante. Thero Nissarana. I would also like to pay special gratitude to Most Venerable Bhante Udayiriyagamba Dhammajiva Mahathero for the request and advice to initiate this program. I would also like to thank all the organizers, the hosts and the co-hosts for all the effort and the guidance to initiate and maintain this program for the benefit of all of us. I must also thank all the participants for their participation in this session, as without you, there won't be a purpose or enthusiasm for us to sustain this program. So thank you all for joining this program. Finally, I would like to kindly invite all of you to keep practicing mindfulness and writing your reports and presenting it during the sessions so that we can all benefit from this session. Now, if there are any questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I will go towards concluding this session for today. I see that there are no hands raised. So I just have two very quick announcements to make. Just want to get your awareness to the Nissarana Vanaya website. This is where you can get the recordings, previous recordings as well. The MixLR recordings, which are in this website. So this is the Nissarana website. Also a quick note on the Satipasala that is conducted. So Satipasala is for children, and this is conducted in Sri Lanka. And if you want your children to practice mindfulness, this is a great site to visit. There's lots of material here, as well as if you're in Australia and the UK, there is a Satipasala Australia and UK. We have a very successful Satipasala happening every month over Zoom. So this is for the benefit of our children. So please do send your children as well, because they also can benefit from the mindfulness practice as we do. With that, I am happy to say that we are concluding this session, the 11th session on the 11th of December, 2021, and hope you have a great week and keep practicing mindfulness. Look forward to seeing you all next Saturday at the same time. Thero Nissarana.